Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, we could really use your help. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named the Too Opinionated podcast one of its top 100 podcasts. This is a monumental feat for this program. We're a father and son team out of a small town in West Virginia, have been doing this for about 5 years. There's 15 million podcasts out there. About 40,000 of those get to the point that they're listed on IMDb. Out of those 40,000 out of the 15 million, we're ranked number 82. Something that we're just immensely proud of. We're so thankful for our listeners, our watchers, our fans. Thank you so, so much. If you would like to help us out, and we're asking for it, please. It's easy. It's really easy. It's free. If you go to IMDb, that's imdb.com, look up Too Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. I mean, you're welcome to look at the cast, look at the episodes so you can kind of see who's been on the program. Do whatever you want. But even just bringing up the page, imdb.com, Too Opinionated Podcast, bring up the page, look at it. That helps us so much. So please, if you can do anything, we would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Love to have your subscription there. It's also free. And you can also check out our website, meistercon.com, where you'll find almost 700 episodes, audio and video, available on there. There's also a terrific blog from Brett, and it'll let you know anything that we have going on in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, anything that we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so, so much. We appreciate you so much. I can't express enough how appreciative we are of all of you. We never expected to do as well as we have, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy that interview. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. So excited today. I've got actor Stephen John Ward with me. So welcome, Stephen.
Thank you for having me.
I finished One Piece, and I'm not like my stepdaughter, monster anime fan, manga fan, loves that stuff. So she recommended, and I was like, okay, most of the time I think it's pretty entertaining, but I never sit down and just watch. I was like, but live action, I'll check it out. It's one of the best shows I've watched in a while.
Really? The live action?
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. You should try the anime.
I have. I started on it. It's daunting, though, because there's like 1,000 episodes.
Oh, yeah. No, there's not much lifetime left to finish it if you start from the beginning, because I'm also trying to get through it. It's tough. Good. There's a lot. It's really good. It's the only anime that I've ever cried out of emotion, sad emotion, not when I don't know if you know other animes, but Dragon Ball Z, which I'm a massive fan of. I grew up on that kind of stuff. So when Goku turned Super Saiyan for the first time, I cried, but that was out of excitement, but One Piece makes me cry from emotional stuff. And I'm like, why am I? This is a cartoon, but it's more than that.
I mean, just on the surface, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
Superpowers, everybody's got a unique look. It's very strange and odd, but it works. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I do know why. Good acting, good writing. The character development strong.
It's Oda's magic.
Yeah.
He hit on something that just clicked, and he was like, "Yep, that's gonna work."
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He did. So, when I was growing up, the anime I had was Speed Racer, Astro Boy, Robotech, Akira, some of that. And then eventually it got into Ghost in the Shell and Vampire Hunter D and some of those, that came after. But since then, that was back in the, 70s and 80s. Since then, there's so much. You look at it and you're like, where do I even start? Well, apparently I'm starting with One Piece.
Well, that's a good one to start with. you can go like mainstream and watch those kinds of animes, and they're really good. There's a reason they're mainstream, like they work. But then you can like you can get into the nitty gritty of stuff and kind of find your kink. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
For anime? But it all depends on what you're into, and that's what's cool about anime. There's something for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much. So have you ever thought about doing the voice work?
I do a lot of voice work for commercials.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually came from one like 2 hours ago.
What
But
were you
it's
selling?
very. Oh, I was selling a university, like a business school.
Oh, very nice.
How did it go? The Creative School of Business. And they sell, I don't know, like a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I could have helped them out with that, because instead of just doing the voiceover, have you on camera in the Mihawk costume, just walking through the business school talking about it.
That might sell better, but I think the rights for them to get that, I don't know if they can.
No, they probably couldn't.
But yeah, no, I love to do voices. I could do a lot of impressions and stuff, and I've always had fun with that growing up. So I've always wanted to be a voice actor, but it's a completely different medium.
It's harder to get into.
It's incredibly difficult because a lot of acting is in the moment and moving.
Yeah.
Or like motion. And voice acting is you gotta make it up. It's a lot more imaginative than theater acting or film acting. But yeah, it is something I've always wanted to do, and I will still do it if anyone calls and asks. I'll be like, yes, I'm in.
Voice for it.
Thanks.
You've got a very strong, voice. Unlike mine, where it's just a heavy accent. So it'd be difficult for me to do a whole lot of voices in voiceover, unless you want just a country Southern accent. Then maybe.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm trying to my country accent now. Unless you want, it sounds bad now that I'm trying to make it up. That's it right there. Unless you want a country accent. I mean, like it works. It depends on the show, right?
I think you may be a member of my family. I may have. Because it gets thicker if we're talking amongst ourselves.
Oh, really?
If I talk to somebody that doesn't have the accent, it's not as strong. But if you're talking to somebody that has your accent, it always gets.
Yeah. Oh, that's true, because I find like so the way I'm speaking to you now, I don't speak like this. It's only because you're American that my accent's changed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have to count to go back to my own accent. And so this is like what I normally sound like, and I'll try to speak like this for the rest of it. But because I hear you, I switch over, and it's happened a few times in different countries where I switch over into their accent. It's just little inflections, but I can hear it, and I'm like, so yeah, I can actually understand that it gets thicker and thicker. See, there it just happened again. Thicker, thicker. South Africa, we say thicker. There's no R.
No R. You don't need that.
No, only in Afrikaans, which is one of the official languages. Yeah, they go thicker.
See, that just sounds complicated to me.
I mean, it's easy when you live here, right?
You got to roll your R's. That's hard to do.
No, it's not really.
Yeah, some of us.
It's like you're making a. Oh, that's going to be on the internet forever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The amount of times I've done stupid stuff like that, and I'm like, what am I doing? They're filming this.
You're a meme. That's what happens. You become a meme.
Yeah, which is funny because I only like on Twitter or now X, I used to only respond with memes. And then I ran out of memes, so I used to just make my own memes. And then people made accounts of me as memes. So now I'm a meme.
People are in
my friends say now I've made it because I'm a meme, and I'm on Reddit. So apparently that means you made it.
Number one, marker for success is if you haven't been a meme yet, then are you really successful?
I mean, I'll take it, right?
So I got us out of sequence. Let me back up. Tell me a little bit about what got you into acting. Why did you want to become an actor? Because that's obviously not an easy profession to go into.
Oh yeah, no, look, and when I decided to do it, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I was 8 years old. It was 98, and I watched a theater show. It was like a children's theater thing, and I can't remember the show name. It must have been like Snow White or something. And there was a man on stage playing like the evil person. And I was like encapsulated by this person, and I felt emotions, and I was like, I want to do that to people. Like that looks like a lot of fun. And I think at the same time, it's also like control. So like it's you're the maestro, right? You can control.
Yeah.
Is it the maestro who's the person that does
right. The orchestra conductor. Yeah,
the conductor. Yeah, not a maestro, but
it's maestro.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool. So I watched him do this, and I was like, that's what I want to do. So the next show they had, it helped that I was like best friends with the director's son. And he was just like, Steven. Yeah, it didn't hurt at all. And he was like, Steven and I want to be in your next show. And he put us in, and I had one line with the same actor that I just watched in a different show. And my one line was, "You called, master." I was like a minion for this guy. And that was it. I had one line. And I came out and I panicked. And I got that stage fright, and I forgot my one line. And I remember coming off stage and going, I'll never do that again. Not forget the line, but I'll never not speak. There'll always be something, like I'll be so prepared that I'll know what to say next.
Right.
And then the guy who was
All right, so we froze up for just a second, but we're back. Stephen, can you finish your thought?
Yeah, so sorry, I'm trying to remember where I left off now. Essentially, I looked up to this human that had so much control over me as an audience member, and then I wanted to be him. And then when he shouted at me, I realized I didn't want to be him. I wanted to be better, and be my own person. And then that was the decision. I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
I like the fact that when you flubbed the line, you didn't just say, "I'm done. This was terrible. I'm never acting again." You actually were like, okay, that's not going to happen again. I'm just going to be better prepared.
Yeah. I didn't want to. I don't know what was going through my mind as an 8-year-old. I just remember going, that's never going to happen again. I'll never let that happen again. Like I'll say something,
Yeah.
Do a little whether improv. It's a blooper. Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm terrible at improv, but like I will, I'll do anything to not make it awkward.
Yeah.
Although, so that was my
I'm
acting
the same
experience.
way, but my, like I'll do anything not to make it awkward, which usually makes it awkward.
But you see, as long as you keep talking, then awkward can work. So you at least there's something you can use. If someone just stops talking, then we have nothing.
You've got nothing to go on then.
Yeah. So it's the same as interviewing. You got to just keep going with anything and see what happens.
There have been times where I have brain locked, and I've done that. I just talk basically in a circle till I figure out where I was.
At least you can figure out where you were. I'll talk in a circle, and I'll just like trail along up like Machu Picchu or something. Like it won't even, I'll be so disconnected from where we were. So people have to stop me.
Yeah, I get that. Well, so from there, I'm guessing, did you do theater through school?
Yeah, so I did. I did theater shows, 3 shows a year with this professional company, and then I obviously did my school shows and stuff like that. And then I changed schools and moved to a different province or a state, as Americans will understand. And I joined another professional theater production, and we were doing kind of more musical vibes, which was a whole new experience because I was not a confident. I don't say I can sing, I say I can hold a note.
Okay. Okay.
So like I
understand
can
the
sing around
difference.
a campfire, I can sing in my shower, but I'm not a pop star by
But if
any
you had to
means.
like get through a musical, you could do it.
Depends on the musical.
And probably the role too.
Because some of those notes are
Just
like
too
my
high.
voice is really deep. I'm a bass. And then you like I've tried to audition for things for like a baritone, and some of those notes are just too high, and it hits that like uncomfortable drag,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
which I just
nobody
can't do,
likes to try the
and
high note and miss. Nobody
no,
sounds good when
yeah,
they miss
but
it.
you got to be confident to do it. So like now lately, I've realized like singing in my car, which I love to do. Like in traffic, I'm just jamming out, and I can reach these notes. But as soon as I put a microphone in front of me and I try and hit it, I'm like, this is not working. So it's the confidence thing. I know if you don't think you can do it, just if you get that confidence, you'll be able to hit it. Like it is possible, but yeah. So I wouldn't be able to. Like I could do Moulin Rouge um
Not bad.
on those notes, changing some of them. But like if you're gonna go into like I don't know, Book of Mormon or something, I
Yeah.
can't reach that. Like it's too high.
There's not a whole lot of people that could reach that.
No, I mean that is, and it's an incredible craft that those theater actors have to do that because they run around, they do costume changes, and they come out and they hit that note perfectly, and it's an incredible
It is
thing
impressive.
to be able to do and to watch. I mean, I cry in like every Broadway or West End show that I go and see. So
I'm the same way. I'm a very emotional guy. And I used to like when I was younger, that would bother me. Now it don't bother me at all. I like if you haven't had a
isn't that nice?
what are you doing?
Isn't that so nice to be like, you know what, I don't care. Like, this made me feel things and that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be of the men only cry at like weddings, funerals, maybe something your child did, and select sporting events. But since then, I'm just like now anything that happens will tear me up.
Oh yeah, I watch Disney movies and I'm
Oh
crying and
yeah,
my child's just like,
yeah. Are you okay?
yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to be emotional for a few minutes. It doesn't last long.
Yeah, and that's all right. It's good to be emotional. We got to let some stuff out, every now and then.
Well, it's kind of cathartic. It's cleansing.
It's so nice to cry. It's so nice to cry. I like sometimes if I feel a cry coming on, I'll just like force it out just so I can have those 5 minutes and then just be like, I'm good now. Now I can like crush the rest of my day.
Like I can ugly cry, which I don't like. Get to a that's no good.
Yeah,
I can
no,
also
but
kind of
that,
do the manly one tear cry where you're just kind of staring and then one tear kind of drips down.
yeah, no, I get that, and that one feels cool as well.
Yeah, that
But
one's
yeah,
not too bad.
the ugly cry is not fun because then it's generally quite a bad. It's not, you generally don't have, like, you're not watching a movie and you're ugly crying.
No, you've
It's
lost control.
yeah, it's not fun to feel that way, and I hope no one feels that way.
That's
But
right. That's right.
unfortunately, we are human and we all do. So
That's right. That's right. So I noticed that you have done some work in casting, which is pretty interesting. How'd you get into that?
I've been a casting director for what are we now? 2023?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 10 plus years, 11, 12, I think.
Amazing.
I started so what I realized, like I studied acting, but I was in the industry before in film.
Right.
So when I was studying, I was like, this is not helping me. This is for people who have never done this before. So I started thinking of ways to up my game. And I thought, I struggle with auditions because I don't, the problem with auditions is you don't know what the other person is thinking. And what people don't realize is that there's like 11 to 50 other people making a decision. It's not one person. It's not the casting director. It's not the director. There's producers. There's a ton of people that are watching your tapes and making a call. So I was like, oh, there's a whole art to auditioning. So if I want to learn how to be the best auditioner, I've got to go work for a casting director. That will also expose me to directors. And in South Africa, we're a service industry, so we've got local directors and we've got international directors.
Right.
So I got to experience what was going through their head after an actor left the room and before the actor entered the room, what they were looking for, how it changed as people were acting, how they were like, oh, I actually kind of like that, and it made me think of this character as this. So I'd like to see if this next person does, how they approach it, but then also I'm going to veer them into that direction because they've got the right look for it or whatever it was. So yeah, that's how I kind of came about that. And I worked for a casting director called Bonnie Lee Bowman, who spent a lot of time in Canada casting. So she was an international casting director and now was a local casting director. And by far, in my opinion, the best casting director in South Africa for an actor. She's incredible at bringing something out of you that you didn't think was there. So I worked very closely with her for years and years and years. And then I eventually moved on and I worked at different casting studios. And now I run my own casting studio, kind of on the side. But again, in South Africa, we have a lot of commercials because it's service industry. We got Europe and America just coming in during our summer in Cape Town, which is a different city to where I live. So I jumped around, but I spent a lot of time casting, and I love it. I love directing actors.
Right.
I don't particularly like the client interaction and all the. There's a lot of. Can I swear?
Yeah, you can swear.
There's a lot of shit that comes with clients. Like every commercial director thinks they're going to win an Oscar for their financial commercial, and you're just like, you're looking for a face that can do X, Y, and Z. It's not that hard. And it's always, I can talk about this forever. I'm not going to complain about casting, but that's my worst. That's why I like casting films, especially independent films, because there's a lot more freedom to play with the actor. Right. And then I end up acting across from them, which ups my game because I've got to match their energy. I've got to change what I'm doing for each and every actor. And I've got to think directionally different ways for them to act to bring out different emotions because every person's different. You can say, okay, ugly cry, but you ugly cry different to how I want you to ugly cry. So I've got to think of a way to explain that to you to ugly cry the way I want. So the fact that I'm now able to kind of do that, it helps me understand the director's version of what they want better. So I can give them more of a variance in the performance versus just like, this one, and this one. I can go like the full spectrum.
Well, and on from their end, they're talking basically to another actor, which might make them feel a little more comfortable, and it allows you to kind of get inside their head a little bit so you can direct them better.
There's nothing worse than having a reader who's not an actor. Nothing on this planet. Well, I mean, there's a lot like war. That's pretty bad, but
War is a close second.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's going into a room and someone just reads the lines because they don't know how to act and they're just paid their whatever amount to be there to say words. Acting's all about feeding off other people's emotions. Anyone can say lines. Anyone can learn lines. Anyone can be an actor, but to separate yourself from like an actor to like a good actor, you've got to be able to feed off other people's emotions in the moment. So a lot of it depends on what the other person is giving you. So yeah, I like to give everything. I mean, I'm like sweating by the end of an audition day with actors because I would want, when I go into the room, I would want them to do the same. So that's what I give back to them.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and probably not a terrible way to network either, which doesn't hurt your acting career if you're making, because you never know, when one of those actors ends up doing their own project or becoming a director or a producer.
Yeah, well, I mean, funny you say that. I just shot a movie with an actor that I worked with, like, I don't know when the movie came out, but maybe like 4 years ago. I don't know. Oh, I just had a drag. Do you hear?
That
It was a high note.
was a good job.
Yeah, I just shot a movie with him because he became a producer, and he still acts, but he got into the producing game to like I went into casting to do X, Y, and Z. He went into producing to understand X, Y, and Z. And I shot a movie with him, and the only reason he it came to my house to offer me the role was because we worked together and we had the most incredible experience shooting this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, networking is a big part of it. I'm not good at it because my focus is on you
Right.
coming into the studio, not on me. I'm just not built that way. I struggle with networking. I hate it. I
I'm not
lived
the
in
best
LA
either.
and I cannot network. I could not survive in that city.
LA's tough.
LA is no offense to the people that live in LA. Like props to you for living there and like sticking it through, but that is a rough city.
Yeah.
Like it's everyone, it's all business all the time, and they call it art, but it's business.
Yeah.
You know, it's business, not on paper. And it's not for me. I like to make connections and friends, and
Difficult, I think, with
real things. I'm gonna get so much hate from LA after this, but
they're really
like I love them. I loved my time in LA, but I'm not built like that. I can't live that way. I can't go out and like force people to want me or convince them. And it's like what you see is what you get, and if you like it, then great, and if you don't,
That's right.
it is what it is. I'm not gonna cry over it.
You had a little recurring role on Vagrant Queen, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad.
So I forgot that Vagrant Queen was from a comic book.
I didn't.
Called
comic book guy though, so that's kind
of. But I forgot, and like for a couple of interviews, I was like, "Yeah, this is my first adaptation." And I'm like, and then my agent was like, "It's not your first, right?" And I was like, "What?"
There may have been one more.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. But yeah, Vagrant Queen was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a recurring role on paper, but it was a lot more short-lived than that word says. But it was a lot of fun. I got to do wire work and shoot alien guns and be in like prosthetics and stuff, which as an actor and as a child at heart,
Yeah, that's pretty
I
cool.
loved that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's pretty good. Did I see that you did a little bit of work with Strike Back? What was that about?
Yeah. So in like the start of my film career, I got cast as the barman on Strike Back. And
Well, it was probably filmed there, right? It was probably filmed in
yeah, season 4. It's very confusing because like season 4 in a different country is season 3 or something. I don't know. It was very confusing, but I know it is season 4 of Strike Back. I literally was in like an episode. And I played the barman and a love interest of the bad guy. And I was so new, I didn't understand. I didn't know what I was just told I was the barman because I don't think I even had a line. Um, and then I got my head blown off, and I thought that was awesome.
It is kind of
Like it exploded out the back, and yeah. And then what the problem was is then I just started doing movies where I kept dying. So for like a majority of my career, like every movie you watch of me, I die. And at a point, I was like, I gotta stop doing this. I gotta stop dying in things.
I've told other people on this show that if I ever decided to break into Hollywood, the way I would do it is I'd want to be the first person to get killed in every TV show and movie, so that on IMDb, all my credits would just say dead guy or dead body. That'd be my little niche.
I mean, yeah, no one's done it, so like
I
it
don't
could
know. It
work.
sounds like you already did it.
Well, no, I did it in South Africa, and like those things went overseas, but it's not. It wasn't the end game for me. I was like, no, I got to come back for the next season, right, or the next movie. but I was dead, so I was like, this is a dumb route to go.
Right.
So yeah,
You're
I have to try and
eliminating
make a
future
conscious
roles.
decision to like not die in film so that I could potentially come back if I did good enough work.
Strike Back was a pretty good show, but
Yeah, it was huge.
yeah, it was so big and a great cast. But the reason I remember it is for the theme song was written by the Heavy, and I really liked the theme song, so it made me go look up that band, and now I'm a fan of the band. So I was like,
That's
that's what
cool.
I associate with Strike Back, is like it introduced me to the Heavy.
So I'm a terrible actor and I don't do like much research. I knew this is what I know about Strike Back. It's army people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a special ops team or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
Well, that's all
That's
you
like,
need to know is, a bartender.
yeah, I was the barman. I didn't need to know more at the time. Like I didn't, I knew, like I had a lot of friends watch it and a lot of my friends messaging me when it came out. And I was like, I haven't seen this. Where do you, because I don't get told anything. They just, things appear on screen and then
Yeah.
my friends tell me when it happens. But yeah, so I didn't know much about the show when it happened, and only now I'm like a bit more aware that it was quite a popular show. But again, my
Good
part
show.
was so small. I was just started out.
That's
Yeah,
a cool one to be like for one of your first credits, though. It's pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. Like it's not a it's not a terrible credit. But again, when people ask you, they're like, "Oh, what did you do in Strike Back?" And I'm like, "I was the barman. I was there for like 3 scenes. Then I got my head blown off. It was great." Like, So yeah.
How did the role with One Piece, work out?
Happen.
Did you have to go and audition for that? Was it a self tape? Or did somebody
So yeah, so this is One Piece happened by complete fluke and luck.
Yeah.
Um, I had no idea they were casting the show, even though it was casting in Cape Town. Because so when people come and shoot in South Africa, they cast in Cape Town first, and then they look into like Johannesburg, and they'll go to very specific agencies in Johannesburg. And I'm based in Johannesburg. Well, I'm based in Pretoria, but it's the capital city, so I'm right next to Johannesburg. Um, and for people who don't understand, Cape Town is LA, Johannesburg is New York.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Explains it pretty well.
business, art. It's art. Um, and so I was working at my day job because I do that. And I got an email from my first ever acting agent years ago, film acting agent. And it said, "Hey, Steven, there's this audition, whatever, from the casting director, Bonnie Radini, and blah, 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 blah." And it didn't say One Piece. It didn't because they hid everything. They didn't say the names of the characters. They didn't give, they changed the scenes to kind of unless you really knew what was going on, then, you knew it was One Piece, but they called it Project Panda at that stage. And
That'd be a
what
whole
was
different
my
show.
roles? Yeah, I didn't know what it was. And I think my character's name was Videl on the thing, which immediately took me to Dragon Ball Z, but I knew it wasn't Dragon Ball Z because no one will touch that IP for a very long time. But so she emailed me, and I get these emails a lot as a casting director because agents have people are represented by agents also called Steven. So they'd put my email in and I would respond saying, "Hey, that's not for me. Just making sure you're getting it to the right guy so that he's not surprised and has an audition in the next 2 hours for the next day or whatever." And I ignored it because my job is very stressful and busy. And I carried on with my day, went through studio with a bunch of actors. And at like 4 p.m., I checked my emails again. And of course, there was like 200 plus emails. And I saw she had responded. And I just remember reading, "No, it's for you." And I was like, "What is she talking about?" So I went back into it and she's like, "No, it's for you. Bonnie Radini doesn't know how to get hold of you." So I was like, that's weird. I picked up my phone and I called Bonnie Radini because we have each other's numbers because
Right.
we all casting directors, we all work together. So I was like, Bonnie, why don't you just call me? And she's like, oh, I completely forgot I had your number. And I remember years ago you were with this agency. So I just reached out in hopes. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me, what's up. And she didn't give me any information because, NDAs and stuff, she wasn't allowed to. But she was like, just do it. Like, you're right for this. And it's a good show. So I was like, fine, you know what? And I was at that point in my career where I had I decided to not pursue fame. Because I think every young actor goes through this thing where they just want to be famous, this idea of fame. And I'd given that up because I was like, this is not worth it. It's not healthy for me. I, lost connection with family and friends and stuff, and I need to go back to who I was. So anyway, so when I was like, yeah, sure, Bonnie, I'll do the audition. And I sat with my wife, who directs me on every audition that I do, because she used to be an actress, and she gives me a female perspective, which is a lot more interesting to watch a male do something in a female perspective than a male doing it in a male perspective, because it's just different and people aren't used to it. So I did the first tape, and it was like, I think I had like 2 lines of description for this character. I just knew he was a swordsman and a really good one. And then the next day, Mark Jobs, who directed Block 1, I believe, he wanted a callback with me. And I was like, okay, sure. And they gave me a little bit more information. And one thing that stuck out was his eyes. This character's eyes are just like noticeable. So my wife, as a joke, was like, let's put eyeliner on you. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like, sure. I don't know what this show is. I don't know what's going on. No one's giving me information. So I'm just going to do what I want. So we pop eyeliner on, and Mark just sat there like this going, your eyes, I just can't, because they made them pop. And that's all. And I think that's the reason I booked the role. Because my accent, I watched the tape of my audition. I thought I had lost it, but we found it. It's so cringe, but the accent wasn't what it was during the tape, obviously. But I also was like, the eyes, that's all I can focus on. And that, it's a big part of Mihawk. So yeah. And then literally within a week, I think my manager in the States sent me an audition for some other role in the show. And I was like, no, I've already had a callback for this. Don't worry. And then I think I finished that conversation, and then I got the call, and they were like, cool, you're booked. And then they gave me all the information. And I was like, oh, you didn't tell me it was this show.
Yeah.
And then I called my nerd friends, and I was like, how much trouble am I in if I mess this up? And they were like, dude, like, you got to do everything right. So then the panic started kicking in. But yeah, that was my process of getting cast. Oh, and it was a self-tape. Sorry if I didn't explain that. I filmed it in my tiny 2-bedroom apartment. We call them flats. I think apartments are bigger. But yeah, a tiny 2-bedroom flat in my daughter's room, actually.
I think that makes it better. That's just
look,
it seems like that's something Mihawk would do. He'd do that.
Yeah, because what's funny is Mihawk does whatever he wants when he wants to. So it was the same kind of attitude, like with the makeup. It was like, whatever, sure, like that's what I'm gonna do, and I don't care. And I think it played off. Well, I mean, I booked the role, so it did play off. But it worked out, and I'm very grateful for it.
I mean, it's a show full of unique and kind of cool characters, and somehow you ended up with maybe the coolest one. I mean, it's cool.
I agree with that statement.
Well, I mean, he's got a cool nickname, Hawkeye. He's got the isn't like his first name like Dracul or something like
that? Dracul Mihawk, like kind of like Dracula.
Yeah, so you're like, well, has he got some type of vampire thing going on? I mean, it
yeah, look, he's super badass. Like, he's cool. Super badass. So yeah, he is a lot of fun to play. And I've said before in other interviews, we're complete opposites, because I'm happy-go-lucky and fun, and he's just moody the whole time.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a lot of fun to play a character like that.
Have they announced the second season yet?
They announced that there will be a second season. And then I know when the writer's strike ended, the group of writers were assigned, and they were in the writers' room, kind of. I think what had happened, they had a season 2 already written, but then obviously because of the writer's strike, they couldn't make adjustments. So when that ended, they went back in and they're now working on that. But as far as I'm aware, they haven't started casting. I know they're in talks. Like Matt was saying, Matt Owens, the showrunner, was saying on an interview that he's in talks with. There's some famous lady that I should probably know the name of, who wants to be in One Piece and has wanted to be in One Piece before season 1. So I know they're obviously talking to people for specific roles, but I don't think there's any official casting happening, at least not in Cape Town.
Yeah, I'm assuming Mihawk will be back.
Well, according to the manga and the anime, like he hasn't died. They've just gotten to, is like spoiler alert. They're gotten to the Cross Guild, which is Buggy, Crocodile, and Mihawk that have kind of joined together. So there's a lot more to come. Mihawk doesn't appear as much as at least my fans hope he does. But I'm kind of hoping, like they brought Garp forward. Garp shouldn't have appeared in season 1, according to the anime or the manga. So I'm hoping they can figure out a way to bring me back in, because I really enjoy, like I told Matt on Instagram, there's a comment that's got a bunch of likes about me just going, I'm happy to just stand behind camera in full costume and not be on screen. Like I just want to be there dressed as him. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
What's a cool outfit? It's like
yeah, that's the thing. Like
costume every year till you die.
I mean, if my wife lets me do it. I like doing stupid stuff for Halloween though, so she could do?
She can do the makeup. We already know that. She helped you get
She could do the makeup, yeah.
No, that's I think every anime manga, you always have that one mysterious type of character that everybody kind of gravitates to, and that was you this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in the anime, no one knows how strong he is.
Yeah,
so it's kind of been set in stone for a while. And I'm glad that I was able to retain that kind of mysteriousness to him.
Because we didn't really get to see any powers. I mean, he had that little fight with Zoro where he's got the little tiny, knife or sword or whatever he's kind of fighting, but he didn't do much, and he still beat him.
Yeah, no, he wiped the floor with them. But that just shows like the level of like the difference in levels that they're at. And I know, look, eventually, I believe it has to happen that Zoro has to beat Mihawk. Like,
what has to? I mean,
yeah. Otherwise, what's the point, right? But I'm hoping that it's like he doesn't kill Mihawk. It's like he gets to that moment, like there's this massive fight, and then he gets to a moment where Zoro then slices Mihawk the same way. And he goes, now we're even. Oh, and then that opens it up to like continue, a nice new rivalry. That would be cool. But I'm gonna let Oda cook and do what he does best. So what he decides is the way we go.
From, I mean, he's only got 1,000 episodes to pull from, so it's a shame they don't have more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's not much lifetime to like complete that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it really, like, I'm enjoying them for different reasons. Even though it's basically the same story, it's just different watching, the fully animated version as to the live action. Although I love the way the live action actually made you think you were watching anime. Like the they had those scenes. Well, like every character yells out their move. You know, you wouldn't do that in real life. That
except for me.
Yeah, you haven't done that yet.
I'm scared he'll break the universe if he yells out a move.
I think I'm
Yeah, it's they found like a good medium between like serious and goofy, which is kind of what worked for the live action.
Yeah, it worked really good. I think I'm gonna start yelling stuff out like as I'm just doing everyday chores. Yell out the move I'm about to do.
What's your move for like sweeping or vacuuming?
Oh, that's a good one. It'd have to be something like, turbo spin vacuum.
Yeah, so like turbo whirlwind suction. There's your wife just looking like,
like, what is he doing? Although she never watches that stuff with me, but she watched this one and loved it. Like we binged it in like a day.
I love that. I didn't get to binge it, so I'm so jealous when people tell me that they binged it, and I'm like,
a good way to watch it.
I took like a week.
Well, week's not bad.
No, it's not bad, but like I wanted to watch it in a day. Everyone knew what happened before me because I didn't get all the scripts as well. I only got my scripts for my episodes. And that's all I knew. So I knew nothing about what was going to happen except for, watching the anime. So
do you have a favorite character outside of yours?
In One Piece still?
Yeah.
Nami. And I say that because of Emily Rudd. She is the sweetest human being you will ever come across. And so that's why my love for, never mind like in the anime, like I really like Nami, but because she's just, I don't know, she's just so like carefree, but also like caring. I don't know. Maybe she reminds me of my wife a little bit.
She has that damaged quality about her. So you feel bad for her, but you also like her.
Exactly, yeah. But Emily made me love her character more. But then next to Emily, also a little bit of influence from Taz Skylar because he's awesome, but just mainly because of the fighting style is I love Sanji because I'd love to be able to kick like that. Like I grew up like, watching Karate Kid and doing karate and stuff. I was like, I couldn't kick like that. That's awesome. So yeah, that's and then Buggy fits in there too. It's tough to choose one, man. They're all
so good.
Again, Buggy's good. I don't like Buggy in the anime, but I love Buggy in the live action.
Even the smaller roles were really interesting and good.
Yeah, people like put in effort. I keep telling people that everyone that came onto this set put in the research, the time, and the energy. Like everyone gave 300% at all times. And if someone was sitting on 120%, the rest of us would build that up to 300 because we knew we had a mountain to climb, and everyone had to be on the same page at all times. So people really gave their all. And I'm super proud of the South African actors because the majority of them were, local cast. And they really stepped up their game, seriously stepped up their game. Like there are people in the past 3 years that I never considered competitive actors.
Yeah.
And I've seen them not just in One Piece, but in like Resident Evil and stuff that was also shot here.
Right.
And my jaw hit the floor. I was like, where have these skills been hiding? Because I've never seen them act like this.
Did the casting director and you like file that away? Oh, I got to file that away in case I need them for something later.
Oh, I in my head, I got my top like local actors up here that as soon as I see their face, I know they're coming into my studio and I know they're going to give everything and do a great job at it. And then I got my little black book, which is filled with a lot of actors, a lot of clients. Yeah, people I will never work with ever again. And their name's there. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, it just takes one thing. I'm very particular with the people I work with now. Because again, I got rid of the idea of wanting to be famous. I just wanted to enjoy what I was doing. And I can't enjoy it if I've got an asshole behind me. So
Yeah.
I don't work with
I think
assholes.
that's fair. You know, if you're going to do something, enjoy it. And if you can't
Yeah.
enjoy it because of some other jerk, don't work with them.
Yeah. Acting is not my job. I have a day job. I'm a casting director. There's parts of that that are just horrible.
Yeah.
There should be no parts of the acting process now that should be terrible. And if they are terrible, then I'm doing something wrong and I should shift that. So
I mean,
if
it's
there's
kind
any
of
actors
free.
listening, like if your gut is telling you that this is wrong, don't do it.
Yeah, it's kind of freeing because you've got the safety net. You've already got the day job, your casting director. So now
Yeah.
the acting, you can pick and choose a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But in South Africa, you can't be just an actor. You have to have a day job.
Well,
Like
that's the
we're
same
not,
in LA.
our credits, you've seen my IMDb credits. Like I've done a bunch of stuff. In LA, if you had those credits, you'd be set for like a while.
For a little while. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Here, no, you get our day fee, and because we're local and we can't unionize and stuff, our day fees are like here that you can't even see. And that's what you get. And then you move on. So we all have to work separate side gigs all
Yeah.
the time.
I mean, you've been to LA. I mean, any thought to moving to like Canada? You know,
Yes. I was about to say not back to LA, but I'll move to Canada. Yeah, my wife and I have spoken about Canada because I know my film work is predominantly Western. I mean, it's all Western. Um, so I'm better off being closer to the States. I just don't know if I could live there. Like I wanted to live in Portland, Oregon for so long, but apparently it's not great anymore.
I
For
know, right? It
various
was good
reasons.
for a while. We
Yeah.
actually considered a move. I was offered a job about 10 years ago, and we had decided to move to Portland. We're like, we're going. And then, like, in the middle of the night, my wife and I woke up and we're like, we can't leave. The whole family's here, and it'd be clear across.
Mm.
So we stayed, thank goodness, because now we've got all these grandkids running around. But that was the reason. It's like, Portland's great. And that wasn't that long ago. And now it's like, oh, maybe we dodged a bullet there.
A little bit, it seems so. And it's yeah, I mean, like I can't really judge it um because I'm not there and I only get the news. And it's the same thing. Like when people judge South Africa, like a lot of Americans still think that we have wild animals running around, and like it's not like that here. Um, but that's what the news tells you. Like if a lion escapes, then it's like, oh, there's lions in Africa. Of course, there's lions in Africa, but they're in conservations and stuff like that. So same thing with Portland. I can't really judge, but I'm sad to hear stuff that's gone down there because I really fell in love with that city. It's also really close to wine country, so
It is.
that was a huge draw factor for me and my wife. But yeah, again, my wife was like, no, not America. She's open to like living there for a couple of years, but we gotta find somewhere else. We're thinking like Canada was an option. We got Spain on the cards. I really want to move to Greece just because I feel like I have an image of a lifestyle, but I don't think it really exists.
You got to go
So we
find
are
out, though.
right. Yeah. So, I'm hoping I get like a convention in Greece or something and I can experience it.
How's the reactions at the conventions been?
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild. So I can walk around anywhere in the world and no one will recognize me unless you know me, unless you're looking for me.
Right.
Because with all my prosthetics and eyes and stuff like that, there's too much different. But at a convention, people know who you are and they like freeze up. And yeah, so the conventions have been incredible. I've only done 3, but I leave tomorrow for another one. I got 2 more for the rest of the year, and I find them so much fun because fans have so much joy and excitement for seeing this person that played this character in real life So yeah, I also spend like a lot of time with fans. I try and give people like 5 minutes minimum,
Oh, that's awesome.
and
Yeah, that's a good.
chat and hug, and
Yeah.
depending on their religion. Like I was just in Saudi, and you can't really hug people unless they initiate it. It's different if you don't know. Um, but yeah, I love hugs, so I'm always like, "Do you want a hug?"
The great part about those conventions is you can take your time with each person, and the people in line, they get it because they want their time too. So nobody complains.
Yeah,
Just wait.
that's the thing. They know that when their time comes, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And people chat to me like at first some people or a lot of people are a bit like scared, and I'm really nervous. I don't really know what to say, and I'm just like, start with hello, and how are you, and do you want a hug, and just realize that I'm a dum dum and I'm a dad, so I'm going to say a corny joke, and you're going to realize that I'm just like everyone else. And then that's when, the fun starts. And yeah, so I haven't had yet complaints about waiting time.
Fans are great at conventions. The majority. I mean, you always got some bozos, but the majority.
Yeah, I hear there's some wild fans in the States. So I'm quite interested because I've got 3 conventions in the States that I haven't announced yet.
Oh,
And
off camera, you'll have to let me know which ones that, because we cover a lot of those conventions.
oh, awesome. Yeah, I'll tell you off camera. I mean, they'll be
I'd like to
announced
check those
soon.
out if you're going to it.
Yeah, awesome. Where are you based?
So I'm in West Virginia, which is kind of off the center, but closer to New York than LA.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So there's
we're
one.
attached to like Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, that group of states, if that helps at all.
I mean, a little bit. There's one fairly close, but I see it's difficult because like America's huge. So like when you say, "Oh no, I'm going to this state," to me that's going to a different country.
Right.
South Africa can fit in Texas, and then there's still more of Texas. Like
Texas
that's
is huge.
yeah, but that's how little it is for me. So America is like every time you go to a different state, I'm like, it's a different country because it shouldn't take me a day to fly there,
Yeah.
or half day or whatever. But
Yeah.
but Americans, because I've got family that live in North Carolina, and I was telling them about the convention. They're like, "Oh, we'll drive up. It's just like a X amount of hours."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's a long time to drive.
Yeah, we'll
Like,
drive.
I'll just fly to you. You don't have to come up." Like, yeah. So, but those conventions will be announced probably like February,
Yeah.
March. I'll start announcing them because I've got a few more coming up already in December that I have to announce. And yeah, I've been very honored to have conventions want me there because I never thought people would care about me.
I know you've been avoiding fame. Now you're famous.
Yeah, it's weird, right? But I don't know if it's famous. I just swim in a bigger pool now in acting. But I said it when I don't know how they actually found this information out because my first convention I did was at Comic-Con Africa here at home.
Yeah.
And I had responded to them when they invited me, and I said, I mean, I'll do it, but I mean, there's probably not gonna be anyone there, so is it worthwhile for you? And they were like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no one wants to come and see me. Like, you've got international people. Boy, was I wrong.
You're wrong.
I was very wrong.
Which, speaking of Dragon Ball Z, right?
Let's talk about Dragon Ball Z.
I went to a convention, and they had some big name people, and I'm walking around, and you're seeing pretty famous actors with very short lines. And there was this one line that went like all the way across the floor, out into the hallway, wrapped around, came back in, but you couldn't see who was at the end of it. And I'm like, what is going on? Who is that? And we finally got up close enough where we could see it was a group of Dragon Ball Z voice actors. That's who was bringing in all the people.
I would fall to the floor if I met those people. I'm not even kidding.
Apparently, what everybody was doing.
Yeah, it sounds right. I met Veronica Taylor at my first convention, who plays Ash Ketchum or used to play Ash Ketchum, and I'm not kidding. She spoke, and I just dropped to the floor. I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did that, but I don't know how to react right now.
Well,
And then
if
later
you're
on,
of a
we had like
certain
dinner
age, that
together
was
and we were hanging out and, you know, being friendly and stuff. But yeah, I literally, I don't know how to act around famous people. I'm like everyone else. I freak out.
That's one of many reasons why I couldn't be an actor. I'd be on scene. I'd be fanning out all the time. They'd let me on scene one time. They're like, "This guy's driving us crazy. You got to get rid of him."
See, I can do it in a filming environment, but in a meeting environment, maybe it's because I haven't filmed with enough famous people. But yeah, I've met some famous people like in my time in LA. There are some very awkward moments that I'd like to not relive.
Yeah, I got a few of those. I've gotten better.
Yeah,
I've had.
yeah, I haven't at all.
There's a few, and it's like immediately after the encounter, you know, you're never going to get that back, and you're never going to feel good about it.
Nope. Nope, I still cringe to this day. It's so bad.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been awesome.
Thank you for having me. You're my first interview like this.
Really?
Yeah. I obviously declined a bunch during the strike.
Right.
Because I'm not part of SAG, but I'd like to be part of SAG, so I was kind of following their rules and
yeah.
And
most of what we did during the strike was we were dealing with more out of country actors, especially Canada.
Yeah.
A lot of Canadian actors. Because of that, I didn't want to put anybody in an awkward position or anything, so I just stayed away. But as soon as that strike ended, I was like sending them out. Let's.
Yeah, great, right? But yeah, so you were just the first one that fit in exactly perfectly with my schedule. So yeah, thank you. I'm not good at interviews. If you've seen any of my other stuff, like they have to like cut a lot because I'm an idiot. But I also realized, like, you know, after all these conventions I've done and interviews and stuff, I'm like, that's who I am as well. Like, I can't go back to this, so I gotta be a certain way and be a certain person and stuff. No, like, you know, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. It's not LA everywhere. I keep grinding on LA. Like
you're going to be doing conventions here in the States, and you're going to have people from LA be going, "Hey."
Yeah, no, I clearly I'm not going to any LA conventions. Like they're going to be like, "No, you're not doing this."
Is there a trick to the Mihawk voice? Is it basically your voice, or do you change it? You know, are you moving it down, or how do you do that?
No, so I mean, it is my voice because it's coming from me, but it started from John Gremy, who's the English voice actor who I met this weekend and found out. I initially took his voice, like he's got a very kind of nasally way of doing Mihawk.
Yeah.
And that was very caricature, you know, it's perfect for anime. But I was like, I want people to immediately associate me with what they've watched for a long time in the language that we're doing it in. So I was like, the English one. So I stole that nasal thing of his, and then I added Jeremy Irons' version of Scar from Lion King.
Can totally hear that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Scar in Mihawk because if you watch Scar, he's dangerous, bored, and like cunning, which is Mihawk. Like, you know, and he does whatever he wants when he wants to. So yeah, purely because I have a 2-year-old watching Lion King, I was like, that sounds good. So then I literally just took, I meshed those two together, and it became, every now and then they'd have a nasally kind of moment in it, but essentially it is Scar. And I was just like, let me do it, but getting bored the whole time. And that's how the voice kind of came about.
Now that you said it, I can't not hear it.
Yeah, no, trust me. I put it on TikTok once as well, and it was during the strike, so I couldn't say anything. But I was just like, "Let me know when you can hear it." And a bunch of people were like, "I can never unhear this."
Yeah,
yeah, but I love it because I love Jeremy Irons. Like he's got the perfect voice for anything. So Yeah, he was the match that I needed. And then yeah, mixing it with John was the baseline to get the fans to immediately associate with the anime.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of thought that went into the voice, because the rest of it was all just physical training. Like I can act, I know how to do that.
Right.
But yeah, voice work is very important. Yeah. So I'm stoked about it, and I use it all the time. Now I play games because I'm a huge gamer. So I play like Valorant, which is like a first-person shooter. And I've got a completely different name. Obviously, my gamer tag is not me, and I just speak as Mihawk throughout the game. And most people are like, "Oh yeah, your voice changer is amazing," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." So I just talk as Mihawk while I play games, and people are like, "Wow, that's crazy! You sound exactly like the guy." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes, but he's an asshole." And then I carry on playing the game. It's a lot of fun. It makes people smile, and that's my aim. I want if I can get one smile a day, then I've succeeded in my day.
Yeah, that's terrific. So a couple little things before we wrap up. Anything you working on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
So I don't know if it's gonna come to the States, but I just shot a TV series. Not just shot. I shot a TV series last year. That was supposed to release in December. And I say supposed to because again, I don't get told anything. I don't know why. Maybe because I spoil things. Not that I've done that before. I don't know. They just don't tell me stuff. And again, my friends will tell me when my shows release, and everyone else will know when they do, and I guess I'll be told. But that's called Catch Me a Killer, it's a South African-based story about serial killers in South Africa. We had the most serial killers in the late 80s, early 90s next to America.
Really? Okay.
In the world. And it's just a story about the woman, Mickey Pistorius, who did criminal profiling and found the majority of these serial killers in South Africa. And yeah, so that's obviously going to come out in South Africa, but I know it is going international. I just don't know where it's going internationally.
Yeah, I thought
Again,
it looked pretty interesting. I saw that and I was like, I wonder if that's coming here. So yeah, we'll see.
You saw Catch Me a Killer?
I saw just that you were working on it. I haven't.
Oh, right, like the poster thing on. I was like, oh, you see, I don't even know there was a trailer out. Like,
I'm hoping. I mean, it seems like something that maybe a Netflix or somebody would pick up. You never know.
I don't know. I mean, it's a really cool show. It's very dark and heavy, but I suppose that like people will like that kind of stuff. And then the other thing I'm working on is a lot more lighthearted. Not actually at all. It's I can't say much about the film because it'll give it away.
What's the genre?
Thriller romance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I describe it. And I feel so embarrassed that I can't remember the name of it now.
Well, we know you'll put that out on social media.
I mean, yeah, no, I will. But that's the thing again. Like, I try and not watch the things I do. I don't. Again, that no one tells me when they come out. So I've done stuff that's appeared in like China, and I'm like, I didn't. And the posters changed and stuff, and I'm like, this is crazy. I didn't know this went all the way there, and but that doesn't faze me. I just, as long as the role's interesting, that's all I want to do.
Yeah,
I'm here for that part. The rest of this is all for the fans. I want to be home with my family more than anything, but I know like my family just got bigger with One Piece. So I got to cater to the rest of the
that's right. You got to
children and the aunts and uncles and yeah. So that's why I don't know the names of the shows that I do.
That's okay. I think
it's terrible. I mean, the producer's gonna call me when this comes out and be like, "Dude, come on." I can't believe I don't know the name. This is killing me.
On social media, because I know you'll put it out there.
So my Instagram is probably the most active page, and that's at Stephen John Ward, and it's got a blue tick, so you'll know it's me.
Yep.
And then X or Twitter for those old schoolers like us. That's at Steve Ward 101. And Steven is with a V, not a PH. And then I'm on TikTok as something. One second while I look at this. I don't know how to TikTok.
TikTok.
No, I'm definitely on it, but TikTok refuses to verify me.
Yeah, TikTok.
So I don't really use the platform often. Oh, at the real Stephen John Ward.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. I got a ton of followers as soon as I open it, and then I try to get verified for like ages. I've even like directly emailed people at TikTok, and they're just like not interested. So I'm like, you know what? That's cool. I just won't use your platform as much as the others. I don't care. Like it's too much anyway, you know? Like again, if a fan wants me to do stuff on TikTok, then I'll do it because it's for them. The rest of it, again, all of this is incidental. I just want to act, to be honest. Like
I love that. All right, hang on one second.
That's all I want to do.
Stephen John Ward. What a great guy. I watched One Piece, and I told Emily that, my wife, that he was the one I wanted to have on for sure, because the character was so interesting and kind of cool. So I wanted to reach out. Didn't really think that we would get him, but Stephen was terrific. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't watched One Piece, do yourself a favor. One of the best shows I've watched in the last couple of years, but one of the best. I still call it, even though it's manga or anime, I still call it kind of a superhero show, because everybody on the show basically has a power. One of the best ones I've seen in that genre as well. It's just excellent. It's such a good show. Even the smaller characters have really unique, intriguing personalities, so it makes you want to watch. This was just terrific. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. We definitely don't take that for granted. If you're finding us for the first time, our website is meistercon.com. We're closing in on 700 episodes, just have a few more to go. You can watch all of those, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named us a top 100 podcast, 15 million and counting podcasts out there to be named to a top 100 list. Pretty exciting. So you can check us out there. Go to imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated podcast. It's free. Just bringing up the page really does help us out. And our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. If you go there, I'd ask that you please subscribe. It's also free, but those subscriptions really do help us out, bringing in guests. If you're a fan of animes, manga, cartoons, whatever it is, we have had a ton of voice actors on the program, some of the best in the business. So please go and check out either at IMDb or our YouTube channel or the website, and you'll see our list of guests. I would put our list of guests up against any other show, podcast, talk show, whatever you've got. I think they've been that good. But if you're a fan of that type of genre, we've got a ton of actors. And we've also got Aiden Scott from One Piece will be coming on the program in the next week or two. So we'll have more from One Piece. So definitely keep watching. Please subscribe. That would help us out, and hopefully give you some good stuff to watch. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm once again here to ask for your support. It's been a big year for the Too Opinionated podcast. Back in February, we got to live out a dream, moderate for William Shatner here in our hometown. In May, we passed 100,000 downloads on our YouTube channel. And we followed that up in June with 50,000 downloads on the audio side. We recently posted our 600th episode, which is pretty good volume for just a father and son operation. You know, not too many podcasts can keep that volume up. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 600 plus episodes. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is a really big deal for us because we've always gotten the views, but have struggled to get people to subscribe. So that 1,000 was a big deal for us. And best of all, we were recently named one of the top podcasts on IMDb, which is the entertainment database. You know, those that are ahead of us, we came in at number 82. Those that are ahead of us are bigger companies like Disney, mostly Marvel, and Joe Rogan, that type of podcast. So for us, being just a small West Virginia father and son podcast, to be in the top 100 out of 15 million, it's a pretty big deal for us. So thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Got a couple little ways, though, that you can help us, and they're free, and they're really easy. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, please go to YouTube. It's under MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Really helps us a ton. And maybe even more important, if you could go to IMDb, imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated podcast, and just look around the page. Just having that traffic on the page really helps us out. So that's a couple easy ways that you can support us, even if you're not listening or watching all of the time. And we want you to listen and watch, because I think that our guest list, I would put up against anybody, any other show, podcast, anybody out there. I think our guest list holds up. So please check us out. You probably will find somebody that you like, or maybe somebody that you didn't know you liked, but kind of discovered them on there. There's tons of that. If you're into music, we have that too. If you like books, we've got authors on there. If you're more into what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment world, you know, we've got producers, directors, video artists, anything you can think of that happens behind the scenes, we've had them on the show. So definitely check us out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.